Rapper Nicki Minaj was the apparent target of a swatting call last night at around 7 p.m. The LA County Sheriff's Department received a call claiming an assault with a deadly weapon had occurred at the Grammy winner's Hidden Hills residence.
All right. Remember when Jay-Z said this?
I think we passed kneeling.
Let me play it again. This time, look at the reaction of the lady sat just behind him.
Nicki Minaj just blew the lid off the whole game with real receipts. She's flat out accusing Roc Nation of masterminding setups against rappers. And she's dropping names like Jay-Z and Desiree Perez, who, by the way, is a convicted criminal turned government informant. Nicki isn't tossing around wild guesses either. She's straight connecting Roc Nation to Tory Lanez's harsh sentence, 6x99's snitch rep, Casanova's Rico nightmare, and a whole list of cases nobody wants to talk about. The crazy part? All these rappers had one thing in common. They spoke up against Desiree Perez. And just when it felt like things couldn't get wilder, Desiree's own daughter stepped in and backed Nicki's claims, saying her own mom threw her into a mental hospital for no reason. Can you even imagine? If Desiree did that to her own child, what would she do to Nicki now that Nicki's out here leaking evidence that Roc Nation might actually be in bed with the government? And don't think this is some made-up conspiracy. Look up the videos of Desiree's daughter calling her out. You'll see the truth yourself. But here's the kicker. Not a single big news outlet has covered it. That silence says it all. Nicki's not just making noise. She's showing stone-cold proof that Roc Nation could be cozy with the feds. And if that's real, then every rapper who dares speak up, including Nicki herself, just put a target on their back. So here's the real bombshell Nicki just dropped. She posted a screenshot that claims Roc Nation and Desiree Perez have been cozying up with federal agents to spy on artists and twist their legal messes into leashes to keep them in check. Can you believe that? And the screenshot doesn't just call Desiree shady. It straight up labels her a confidential informant for federal law enforcement. But get this, the doc Nicki shared isn't some random DM floating around the internet. It's pulled directly from a lawsuit filed by Desiree's own daughter, Dear Hadley. In those court papers, Dare says Desiree forced her into a mental institution with absolutely zero medical reason, and there's even body cam footage showing the exact moment she got snatched up and taken away. Dare says the whole twisted plot was masterminded by her own mom. And brace yourself, because the reason she says she was locked away is downright sick. According to Dare's lawsuit, Desiree used her cash, clout, and big-time connections to wreck Dare's marriage with her husband, Jevon Hadley. Dare claims her mom threatened to Baker Act her, which means forcibly committing someone under Florida's notorious Mental Health Act of 1971. If she didn't leave Jevon, that's next level messed up. The Baker Act lets cops, judges, or mental health pros lock someone up for 72 hours if they're seen as a danger to themselves or others because of mental illness. But here's where things take a sick, dark turn. The lawsuit says the real reason Desiree Perez forced her daughter to leave her husband Jevon was because he's black. Yeah, you heard that right. Desiree, the same woman Jay-Z handpicked to lead his empire, is being accused of straight-up racism. Dare's complaint says her mom grabbed her and shouted, "I'm going to Baker Act you. If you stay with that Naksher, I will have you committed." That's horrifying. But Dare wasn't about to let her mom's lies slide. She brought receipts. Loads of them. She dropped medical records proving she was completely sober and had zero signs of mental issues when Desiree had her dragged away. Dare even shared the files on X and blasted fake Instagram pages, blogs, and bot accounts for spreading trash about her. In her own words, Dare wrote, "I had blood work, urine screens at 3 different places on separate days. A hair follicle test shows over 3 months of drug use history, and I've got over 10 years of doctor visits with full screenings. I've never done drugs. I've never drunk alcohol." That's ironclad proof she wasn't out of control like Desiree claimed. So how does this all connect back to Nicki Minaj? Nicki's been ringing alarm bells about Desiree Perez and Jay-Z for ages, but nobody wanted to hear it. Everyone brushed her off, calling her bitter or jealous. And remember last year when Nicki and Megan Thee Stallion went at each other with those fiery diss tracks? That beef wasn't just random. Nicki was trying to expose the twisted power games going down behind the scenes. Ask ChatGPT. That's when Nicki went nuclear and threatened to blow the doors off Desiree Perez's shady moves, accusing her of firing a bunch of Roc Nation employees out of nowhere. Nicki teased on her next track that she'd spill all the tea about how Desiree allegedly canned people for mysterious reasons, leaving them blindsided and brokenhearted. She wrote, "So many people were blindsided and hurt by her allegedly. She's willing to go broke to try to replace me. Fix it, Jesus." That's raw. But here's the real kicker. These employees weren't just fired randomly. The claim is they were let go because they were Nicki Minaj fans. And now, Desiree's own daughter, Dare, is stepping up to co-sign Nicki's accusations, saying Desiree and Roc Nation have done some truly horrific things behind the scenes to destroy Nicki's life and career. In a recent bombshell interview, Dare said Roc Nation even targeted her own family, going after her husband and even her young son. That's cold-blooded. Dare also compared what Nicki's been through to the nightmare of her own forced stay in a mental hospital. And she dropped the mic by saying Desiree and Roc Nation are way more ruthless and dangerous than people could ever imagine. After seeing Dare's lawsuit and hearing her interviews, Nicki couldn't stay quiet. She fired back on X, writing, "To the PMS who claim it wasn't made clear to your ugly asses. Hopefully Dare's massive and detailed page-by-page claim gets you all the way caught up. And, never call me a liar. Never insinuate it either. Every single angel ever created fights for me at the mere thought." Nicki's making it crystal clear. She's not backing down. Nicki dropped a chilling warning saying, "Mention of that word as it relates to me. Vengeance is the Lord's. Be careful. No one who conspired on the wrong side will go unpunished for the role they played in this movie. I hope it was all worth it." She wasn't done either. Nicki confirmed Roc Nation really came for her husband and kid, and she exposed that people in powerful positions are still working overtime to rip her husband away from his family. But buckle up, because what happened next is straight up wild. You probably remember how Nicki's home kept getting swatted over and over starting in mid-2023. But according to Nicki, that wasn't some random prank. She says it was part of Roc Nation's twisted campaign to mess with her. The first time it happened, someone called the cops saying Nicki was harming her child. LAPD rushed over, did a deep search, and found absolutely nothing. But it didn't stop there. Just hours later, another bogus call came in, claiming there was a fire at Nicki's place, sending firefighters and more cops scrambling. And once again, nothing was wrong. It was all fake. And if you thought that was the end, think again. Only a few weeks later, Nicki got swatted again when someone called 911 saying she'd been shot. Cops swarmed her home, but found zero evidence of any shooting or crime. According to the LA Times, the LA County Sheriff's Department confirmed they got a 911 call about a shooting in Hidden Hills. The caller claimed a friend had shot a black woman, which sparked a huge police response. But soon after, it was exposed that the call was another swatting hoax. A neighbor even told the LA Times they watched the whole chaotic scene unfold when law enforcement rushed in. But it was all based on lies. Nicki's home wasn't just hit once or twice. These swatting incidents kept coming like clockwork, showing it was a planned, relentless effort meant to terrify her and her family. And guess what? All of this unfolded right when Nicki was publicly dragging Roc Nation and dropping hints that something way bigger and darker was going on behind closed doors. So when Desiree's own daughter says Desiree and Roc Nation will crush anyone who doesn't play their game, and Nicki's house keeps getting swatted, with her kid put in danger, You have to wonder, was this all part of their twisted plan? Was Roc Nation flexing its power and sending a brutal message? Because this pattern doesn't feel random at all. Don't forget, Desiree Perez isn't just any music executive. She's got a past drenched in controversy. Nicki got targeted because she dared to shine a light on the secret nobody else wanted to expose. Roc Nation isn't just about selling records. It's allegedly a front for federal operations aimed at rappers who step out of line. And at the center of it all, Desiree Perez, a convicted criminal turned government informant, pulls the strings, at least according to an explosive investigative thread on X by Resist's programming. Check this. Back in 1994, Desiree was busted for possession of 35 kilos of cocaine and conspiracy to distribute illegal substances. Court docs reviewed by the New York Daily News show she got nailed by federal prosecutors for helping run a massive drug ring that stretched from New York to Florida and even Puerto Rico. But Desiree wasn't just a lone wolf. She was part of a whole criminal network moving serious weight across state lines. Turns out, Desiree's husband, Juan O.G. Perez, was deep in the game too. And guess what? He's one of Jay-Z's closest boys. These two go way back, and by the mid-90s they were already tight, even launching the iconic 40/40 Club together. Later on, Jay-Z made Juan the president of Roc Nation Sports, and they're still thick as thieves, with their families staying close to this very day. But let's circle back to Desiree's wild criminal past, because you're probably wondering how she got off so easy after getting caught with mountains of coke. Here's the jaw dropper. Desiree skated by with just 5 years of probation because she flipped on her crew and became a federal informant. She even rocked a wire to help the feds take down her former partners. That's next-level betrayal. According to a 2014 bombshell article in the New York Daily News, federal agents were thrilled with Desiree's performance as a snitch, even calling her their star mole. The same report painted her as a Manhattan nightclub manager with a long rap sheet, deep ties to Jay-Z, and a wild backstory as both a DEA cooperating witness and a fugitive who kept slipping through the cracks. Sure, Desiree might have snagged a pardon down the line, but that doesn't mean she hung up her snitch badge. Nicki Minaj is adamant. She claims both Desiree and Jay-Z are still working with the government, and she says Roc Nation isn't just about music. It's basically a Fed-run operation meant to trap rappers and keep the whole hip-hop world on lockdown. Tory Lanez got convicted in December 2022 for allegedly shooting Megan Thee Stallion. But the case was messier than anyone wants to admit. There were glaring holes in the prosecution's story. For starters, gunshot residue tests didn't match up with the claim that Tory pulled the trigger, and bullet fragments supposedly pulled from Megan's foot mysteriously vanished. Even the doctor who treated Megan said he removed bullet pieces, but Detective Stogner, who took the stand, told the court the fragments cannot be located. That's shady. Plus, several witnesses insisted it was actually a woman who fired the gun, and Tory's team kept pointing out the bullet trajectory and chain of custody didn't add up at all. And here's the bombshell. Before he was sentenced, Tory flat out accused Roc Nation of masterminding a setup against him. Then, right after the guilty verdict, Tory's dad went ballistic outside the courthouse, shouting to cameras that Desiree Perez, Jay-Z, and Roc Nation trade and barter the souls of young men. That's some heavy stuff. But Tory isn't alone. Just like Nicki's been screaming for years, any rapper brave enough to stand up or call out Roc Nation ends up tangled in legal chaos. Look at 69999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999
His name was plastered everywhere as the face of betrayal, and it fit the pattern Nicki's been warning about. Rappers who cross Roc Nation end up ruined, either by the law or by the court of public opinion.
But here's the piece nobody talks about. He didn't just beef with other rappers, He took on Roc Nation head-on and even linked up with Nicki to call out Desiree Perez by name. And let's not forget Casanova, another artist who had deep ties to Roc Nation, but ended up slapped with serious federal RICO charges. What's downright suspicious is the timing. Casanova was just starting to speak out about Roc Nation's shady business moves, and only a few months later, the feds swooped in. Casanova, real name Caswell Sr., got hammered with a brutal sentence: 188 months, or 15 years, behind bars, courtesy of U.S. District Judge Philip P. Halper. That's not just bad luck. It fits the exact same pattern Nicki's been screaming about. Nicki exposed how Roc Nation reels rappers into contracts, tightens the screws to control them, and the second they push back, boom, they get burned hard. But here's where it gets even crazier. Nicki's got a whole list of names she's been keeping under wraps, and it's not just rappers. We're talking managers, judges, top execs, even media insiders, all allegedly tangled up in this dark web. And if Nicki decides to unload everything she's sitting on, we could see Roc Nation crumble right in front of our eyes, live and unfiltered. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe if you want the truth nobody else will tell you. Drop a comment below with your thoughts, and we'll see you in the next one.